Happy Pride Month. Now that is something I would not have said growing up. I grew up in a conservative Christian household. And how is it that now I still call myself a Christian and I celebrate Pride Month? Let me tell you how I got from there to here. So I grew up in small town Midwest. I also live in small town Midwest right now. But growing up, I was a pastor's kid and I was taught, the Bible clearly said homosexuality is a sin, right? Actually, the Bible doesn't clearly say that. Over the next few weeks, we're going to go into every verse that Christians like to think is about homosexuality, but actually isn't. But as a kid, I didn't know to question these things or how to even explore these things, so I just assumed that must be true. Being gay is a sin, right? And that's pretty much what I grew up believing all through high school and even into college. But college for me is when things began to change. I went to college at Cornerstone University in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Cornerstone's not exactly a progressive corner of Grand Rapids. There's a school up the street called Calvin College. If you know anything about Calvin College, we would refer to Calvin as the liberal school up the street. And they're not very liberal either. So Cornerstone sure didn't give me a pride flag, but it was a space where I started asking questions about some of the beliefs I'd inherited. And I learned about this thing called postmodernity. Uh-oh, watch out. But it was really the year after I finished at Cornerstone that things began to just completely shift in how I saw the world. So I graduated, but I was still living on campus because my wife was a resident assistant. So we were in the dorms, and a student who I'd known basically my entire time I've been at the school came out and said he was gay. He didn't say this to the whole school because it wasn't really a safe place for that, but he said it to me. And this was the first time I ever knew a person, like personally, who was gay. This was 20 years ago, so it's a little bit different than the world we live in today. And I was in my own little conservative bubble, but something began to pop. What was crazy about this was in my 22-year-old still developing brain, nothing changed and everything changed. My friend was still the exact same person he was the day before I knew this about him. But all that had really changed was my awareness, my understanding of who he was. And we both took the same Bible classes. We went to the same chapel services. We prayed the same prayers. He was studying to be a youth pastor the same degree I had. And how could I say that he wasn't good and whole and complete in who he was just because I now knew something different about him? No. And then that same year, a group called Soul Force was going around the country in a bus visiting Christian campuses that had policies against homosexuality. And so, of course, they came to Cornerstone. That is a day I will never forget. I took the day off work. I was working as a youth pastor at a church. Took the day off work because they were coming to my home. And I thought, you got to welcome people when they come to your home. So I went to the local store and bought as many donuts as they had. And I was waiting for them with boxes of donuts saying, welcome. Now, the thing was, the Soul Force group wasn't allowed on campus. So they were kind of just on the other side of the sidewalk on this little hill between the road, a sidewalk, and the college. And then just in the college, there was a whole bunch of students there to just watch what happened. I don't know. And there were also some police officers. And when two people from the Soul Force group walked onto campus with a letter, they just wanted to talk and have a conversation. They were met by the college administration and the police, and they were arrested and taken to the local jail. This is at my Christian college who taught me the same Bible that says, welcome the foreigner and the immigrant and those who are pushed to the margin. The same Bible that says when you visited someone in prison, you're visiting Christ, now sent these two people to jail. That was it. Now, some people might have given up on the whole faith thing as a result of this. And if that's you, I don't blame you. But I decided I was Christian the way that a fish is wet. It's the water I was born into. So I might as well try to be the best version of this that I can be. And there have to be other versions out there, right? The reality is there have always been queer Christians. And for quite a while now, there have been Christian traditions that celebrate and center and affirm and ordain queer people as pastors, marry them in weddings, and celebrate who God has made them to be. And from there, it just, boom, 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 boom. It just kept going. The way I saw the world continued to open up and become ever expansive. The way I saw people for who they are and who they are becoming and who God is making them to be. This has been 20 years now of my life since those stories I just told you. And I haven't stopped running since, seeing where this wind of God continues to take me and finding other people along the way who hold similar values, who didn't have to unlearn the same things I did, but they just had a head start and they said, welcome to the journey. Kind of refreshing that the worldviews we're given aren't the worldviews we have to hold forever. That the theology and the faith and the religion that you might have spoon-fed to you as a baby, yeah, some parts of it might still work to serve you as you grow up, but other parts you might be like, yeah, that doesn't fit. I need to try something that works for who I am and who I'm becoming and what the world actually is. So all this to say, wherever you are on your journey of understanding humanity and sexuality and what it means to be a person and the people God is making us to be, keep taking a step forward. And I'd love to hear your story. How have you kind of evolved and expanded your understanding of theology and faith, specifically around homosexuality? Because it is Pride Month. Leave a comment, let me know. And the rest of this month, I'm going to have videos diving into those pesky passages that Christians like to use to say, see, but really, spoiler alert, the Bible doesn't say anything about our modern understanding of homosexuality. More on that in the upcoming videos. Bye!